everybody. This is Darwin Renan, the Festival Director of Hospitalario Vega International Film Festival. Today, I have a great filmmaker, a female, who made this beautiful movie, The Day I Met Joshua. And we have that beautiful film in our festival. Her name is Rajni. How are you, dear?
Hi, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Very good. We're happy to have you. So, Rajni, tell me, where do you get the idea and why do you feel that you need to express that idea and put it in a movie? So let's start with the script. Why?
So it was a very unique, it was a personal experience actually. It was almost like a true story what happened. But then I was traveling to Florida, and then one night I had this experience where my phone's whole software crashed, and then I was traveling alone and I couldn't contact anybody, and that freaked me
Wow.
out. The entire night I was so anxious, how am I going to get about in this unknown city and stuff. So, and that got me thinking about how much the gadget has taken over my life, how much influence it has. So I wanted that element of depending on the gadgets, how much we're dependent on the gadgets. And also, I'm a big nature lover. I go to the nature, I to recharge myself ever so often. So that was one of the idea where I wanted to mix these two themes. And living in California, you know, the geography allows you to explore so many different aspects. Like you have the ocean, you have the desert. So I wanted to mix all this into one story, the things I love the most. And that's how the story came about. And also, I'm very much into spirituality and meditation. So
Mm-hmm.
this can be a very tricky subject because not everybody would be interested in. So I had to work out in such a way that everything had to come together, so I would send out a message which is very personal to me. So that's how the whole story about The Day I've Met Joshua came about.
Wow, that's beautiful to hear. So how many drafts do you make before, and how do you decide the script was ready? Do you show it to people before, or how was that
Oh,
process a little bit?
definitely. So I when I first came with this, the story was entirely different. So based on everybody's feedback, reviews, and what I wanted to convey, it always led me to this right path. Somehow everybody gave me their inputs. We had like so many sessions where we sat with the script writers, my other friends and other colleagues who were script writers. We had like this peer feedbacks. They gave me their input. And also based on what I wanted, I kind of like shaped it. We almost changed the script few details. Like it's an ever evolving process, right? You cannot just sit and say like I'm done. You, in the end moment, you're like, oh, I could have had this. So it was a very difficult choice when you decide like, okay, this is finally done and you're ready to go and shoot.
True, eh? That's absolutely so true what you just say. Yeah, it's a never-ending process. I, what about the pre-production? How long was the pre-production of the film? Um, do you do storyboards? How you work with the cinematography before you walk into production? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think a film is made in the pre-production rather than those 3 days we shot. So we worked a lot on the pre-production, especially because my film was shot in the desert and it was
Mm.
during the summer.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I wanted to be very prepared as to I'm not going to waste time in the desert
Mhm.
looking for shots, looking for ideas.
Right.
So I had me and my cinematographer kind of like sat together, worked. We got references from the movies which we like Into the Wild and Wild.
Nice.
So we had
Wow.
some things going on. And I am a big lover of art also, so I had some of my favorite paintings which influenced me. So these kind of
Mm.
like ideas we put together, made a short list, and then we had like an storyboard as to the composition, because
Right.
we wanted to convey this. As you've seen, this movie doesn't have that much dialogues. Everything is in
Mhm.
visual storytelling.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yes.
I had to convey everything with the pictures and with the visual composition. So pre-production was the big process, and it was done for like more than 4 months
Wow.
before we actually shot it.
But I mean, but we can see it. That pre-production did the work, because it's great. Let's jump into production. So it was
Mhm.
3 days you mentioned. I mean, the locations there, I love it. They are really cool. The desert you choose, all the shots, it's you can see there's a work behind. How was the experience of working in the desert? Is it difficult? How was that?
It it's like it's risky, but then it's worth the risk. Because because you're in middle of nowhere. You have
Right.
something goes wrong, you run out of battery, your generator doesn't work, and then you have to go all the way back to the city to for anything. But then the views are worth it. I believe,
Hmm.
like the when you have to show a journey, when my film especially wanted to show a journey of a woman going on a journey to find herself. I wanted to show the emptiness and then the beautiful landscape of Californian desert.
Hmm.
So that kind of like all came together, I feel.
Yeah. So how many people were you guys during the production days? Do you remember hand cameras?
Yes, we were about 19 people on set.
Wow.
19, and then the second day it was about few 2 or 3 people were
Wow,
extra.
that's a big production for a short film, actually. Yeah, yeah, I can see it. What about the casting? You did a great casting, actually. I like the girl very much. She's
Kelly Tapper,
yeah.
yeah.
How
uh,
was that? Do you know her or you do a casting call? How was that?
I actually did a casting call through Backstage. We put
Mm,
out this story on the site, and then we had over like 300 submissions. That was a very difficult task, as to like to find that perfect match. You haven't met this person. You just have to judge by whatever they've sent, the script, scene which they're doing it for you. So it was a very difficult choice. I had already made a selection, and then we were rehearsing with a person who's selected. And just before 3 days, no, 5 days before the shoot, she calls and she had to cancel
oh
because her
my
dates
God.
coincided with a bigger project she was working on. And
Mhm.
that freaked me out. That was like, oh, what do I do
For
now? Like,
you.
we were just 3 days before our shoot. And then thank God I had Kelly, and then she agreed to do this. We met, we had this intense rehearsals. I had to
Hmm.
do whatever rehearsal I did for the past 1 month with the other actress. In next 5 days I had to prep her up. And then I
Hmm.
think universe has its ways, to find
Yeah,
the right people to do the right thing. So she did a
yeah,
brilliant job
yeah.
carrying out the whole film, single person.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Definitely, she's really good. So, what do you think it was the challenging thing in production during those shooting days? Any special that you want to share with us of really challenging? What do you think?
Yes. I'm really proud to say that my whole team had people representing from more than 9 countries.
Oh,
This
beautiful.
was this was all. It was more challenging because you have a lot of diverse cultures, and then everybody to come together at the same time to for one idea was kind of challenging. But then it was very fruitful to work with people who are artists in their own fields, everybody coming together. That was a very beautiful process. It was like
Right.
some things are worth the challenge, right?
Wow, that's so nice.
And
Eh,
also the location, the desert, as I mentioned, the temperatures, when the crew had to be kept under cool temperatures even though the desert was heating up. So yeah, that was also a big challenge to have maintain that peace in the set.
right. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Rajni, tell me, how do you work with the actress when in production, when on set? Do you give the actress, especially because it's one, do you let her bring their own character to you, or you are more technical director? I want this like this. How do you work with the actors, especially with the
I
actress?
I love this process of collaborating with an actress because this is when have conceived this idea, and now it is for them to take over. This is
Mm-hmm.
their platform,
That's
their
right.
stage to show how much character they can bring into it. And also, it is, being a director, I have to make a judgment whether that emotion is coming out at the same time. Everything is getting conveyed in that 3 seconds of the shot. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I used to guide her, just to get into that emotional mindset. I used to give her my personal experiences which are not in the script, as to
Mm-hmm.
like how I felt when something happened, how I felt when I was in I was in Florida when when I'd lost. I would ask her to relate with her own personal stories. Sometimes these emotions at that moment can spark that right kind of chemistry which you need
Mm-hmm.
on the screen, which actually really showed. And she was very, very talented. Like, I didn't have to say too much. Luckily, she just got it, and then she got out that frustration and anger in the desert.
Wow.
I guess in that sense the heat also added, because of the rising temperatures, it gets so frustrating and
Mm-hmm.
sweaty and dirty, and
Yeah.
everything just added into that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, beautiful. That. Let's go to the post production. Who edited the film? How do you work with the editor? Let's start for that. How was
I
that?
am the editor for this film.
Wow, nice. It's very, very well edited. Yes, good, good, good
Thank you.
job.
It went through so many difficult processes, because I was getting to learn editing. I had just learned editing, and then I had practiced on a different software. So I had to learn editing on Avid, and then finally,
Wow.
like, I was able to learn everything thanks to so many people's effort which went through.
Mm-hmm.
This whole movie was edited for over like 6 months, and it was a lonely journey. Like, all the 6 months was pretty lonely journey. And then the best
Wow.
part was when I had to do the I had to get when my music composer came into the scene. So this was the
Uh-huh.
first time I was actually talking to another person outside myself, outside my own room. We had to collaborate and create this whole soundscape for the movie. And the magic which he got, he was just incredible. The music just takes it to another level. And his
Mm-hmm.
name is
Sure.
Jonas Peterson. He's from Germany, and he's worked with Hans Zimmer and in few of
Wow.
big projects. So this
Mm-hmm.
was more like I was learning so much from people I collaborated than me trying to teach somebody anything or trying to collaborate. So
Wow.
the music, the sound designing, everything was done by him, and I think it
Mm-hmm.
adds
Nice.
so much to the story.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna go to the composer actually pretty soon. So tell me about the editing process because I'm so into, I'm a filmmaker, not as good as you, but I'm on my way, okay? I'll try. So editing is a very difficult process I'm being realizing now. How do you, there's a few shots in your film at the end, I really like it. I don't want to spoil, but the shots when you go out over
Right.
here and then you cut to your face and then to your face. I feel that actually pretty cool. Tell me something. How do you how do you decide what's the final cut for you? Do you also get feedback from people? How much it changed that feedback to your vision? If it changed anything, tell me a little bit about that.
I trust my instincts more than anything. So,
Nice.
because this process, I've been involved from the conceptualization to script writing to direction and then editing. I know
Mhm.
exactly what emotion I'm going for. So
Wow.
I don't have to communicate to somebody else. So I know what I'm going for. Meanwhile, I have to take others' perspective into consideration. I did send it to some of my friends and people who are in the industry for their
Hmm.
feedback, the editors, like well experienced editor,
Mm.
and ask their opinion. But ultimately it was up to me to take their opinions or not, because everybody wants to help you, everybody wants to give a perspective, but ultimately it's you who has to know what you're trying to say and if you're getting it or not. So that was a pretty daunting task. But
Mhm.
I feel a movie is made three times. One is when you write it, next time is when you actually directed it, and the final is on the edit table, when everything comes together. It's a whole new world, whole new movie which you have
Yeah,
created.
that is true. Let me ask you something now that you brought that up. How much your script changed on post production, or it was the same chronologically, or you swipe it since? How was that? Or was exactly the same like your script? Now that we say there are three phases in filmmaking,
Right.
tell me.
So initially I was done. I felt like I was done with my edit when it was just at 8 minutes.
Hmm.
Can you believe it? So that was
Wow.
like half of the movie.
Half, yeah.
Right now it's at 15 minutes. So at 8 minutes, I thought my movie is done, and I've conveyed everything I wanted. And that's when I got this feedback, and then people said, "Take it slow.
Mm,
Let your audience immerse into that environment more." So I had to like add more stuff, but then the sequence of the timeline remained the same. It was just
mhm.
that I added more meat to the body. So yeah.
Wow, that's interesting to hear. I never expect that. It's so well, yeah. Um, Tell me about the music. The music, you have a great composer, right? How do you work with a composer of those, working with many expensive projects? How do you ask for music, or how was your mind in the music? Was when you were writing, or it becomes later in post-production? Where do you get this music from, and how do you project that idea to this composer? How was
Right.
that?
I got him involved towards the ending of my edit when I had something to show him, because I didn't want to just explain in words what I'm looking for. So
Okay.
I wanted to show him. And the thing about it is, since he was very experienced, I also wanted him to contribute to a narrative other than what I have. Like, as I said, this was the first person I had to collaborate outside myself in my editing process. So I gave him this visual. I did not tell him much. I just wanted
Nice.
him to understand what he would understand, and I wanted to see what he would get into it. So he composed three songs just for this. And based on that, now I didn't even give him much reference of what kind of music I was going through, but I was fascinated as to like how close he came to actually like what I had imagined. And
Mhm.
based on that, once we had this structure, we kind of like went through the highs. I made a list of notes as to like, at this moment I want this emotion. I had a whole list, and we kind of like tweaked a little bit here and there with
Mhm.
the music instruments, which conveyed, like the pianos convey something, the violin and viola convey something at certain point. So we kind of like adjusted that later on, but then that was totally what he brought into the movie. It was a
Yeah,
beautiful, that was one of my favorite collaborative process, working
it's
with
a
music.
very very nice music. Very nice tracks. Yeah, definitely, I love it. What about the? Um, let's talk about this. You did a great film, The Day I Met Joshua. What do you think, as you as a filmmaker, is the difficult part? You already mentioned something at the beginning in the filmmaking process, the pre-production, production, or post-production. Which one is the most challenging? The most, like you say, oh, if I could avoid, I wouldn't avoid anyone, but if for me, production is very difficult. I think it's one of the when you put all the pieces together, right? But for you,
Yeah.
which one is the difficult pace? Pre-production, production, or post? What do you think,
I
and why?
think pre-production and the post-production go hand in hand. I cannot choose between one, because if you don't select the right people to do the right thing, you won't get anything to work on the post-production table, right? So to
Right.
choose the right people who you're working with is one of the most difficult thing, because you haven't worked with everybody before. Some people you're working for the first time, and you've heard about them, you've seen their work, but you don't know exactly how it's going to happen, the chemistry between you, the ideas, because everybody here are artists. You cannot ask somebody to, you cannot
True.
command demand or demand something out of that. It should be like you need to give them freedom to get in their talent. So to choose good right people is one of the most important and most challenging part, what I felt was.
Nice, nice to hear that. What about Rajni? Tell me, what do you learn from making the day I made Joshua that you will do different in your next project? Any learning that you learned during, you know, during making this film, whether it's pre or post or production, which learning you got that you will do different in your next?
I thought, even though I had a very solid pre-production, I felt like I can improve on the way I did my pre-production. I wanted to be more clear with the ideas, especially like choose the right people. We had some problems with the producer initially. We had to change the producer in the final moment. So again, choosing the right people is so important, who kind of like sticks till the end, makes that commitment and goes till the end. And also to kind of work in all these, when things don't go as planned, you should have a
Mhm.
plan B. So
Gotcha.
you should that was one of the biggest lessons. Like I said, the actress backed out in the end. I had to have a plan B. So thank
Right.
God I had. So I learned that I should have a backup plan. If something doesn't work, I should have a plan B, which, yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
that's true. This is filmmaking, somebody people just
Anything can
leave you in the
happen.
middle of nowhere. Yeah. Everybody who's listening to this is the pain of the filmmakers. We just see the day I made Joshua so beautiful, but nobody knows what was behind all the struggle, right? All the setups. Yeah. Tell me one thing. Do you think do you think a director should edit his own films, or you think we should have an editor to do it? What do
It
you think?
totally it I feel it totally depends on the director's skills. Like if he is a good editor, then
Mhm.
it would be nice to have to edit your own work. But I feel collaborating with an editor would be a better process, because again, they know what they're doing. You don't have to
Mhm.
sit there and then learn as you work, like I did.
Right.
So
Right.
if you have somebody who knows what they're doing and who can get to the same language, you both speak the same language. I don't mean English or Spanish. I
Mhm.
mean, like, when you both are saying the exact same story, then the chemistry is very important. So if you find that with another editor, it would be fantastic.
Nice. Rajni, tell me, what do you want? This is like a very complex question, so no worries, because everybody watch a film from a different perspective. You watch the film I watch, and we have different perspectives. But for you, what is the feeling you want for the people after they finish the day I made Joshua to have? That you were thinking, this is what I want them to feel, even though we know everybody's different. But for you, singularly, what do you think?
My whole idea of making this film was about uh, people reconnecting with nature and
Hmm.
with
Right.
themselves first, and then with the nature. Use nature to connect with themselves, because right now we have this whole it's like we have so much influence, so much external environment which demands our attention and our energies. So this is the message I want to convey through the day I've met Joshua, is to connect within. This short movie was just a small glimpse as to how it might feel when you drop your external environment and for a
Hmm.
second look at yourself, and it's just you versus you.
Right.
And environment plays such a big role, the nature, to it helps you recharge. It's like,
Yeah.
just like our mobiles and gadgets need battery and recharging. This is like, stop and then recharge yourself so you can perform better when you go back.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I feel that. I feel that. So you achieve it definitely. Um, Rajni, are you coming to Barcelona? We'll be happy to have you.
I really want to come to Barcelona. If the pandemic situation goes anything better, I would blink of an eye be in Barcelona. I even have a Spanish tattoo on my hand. I don't know if you
Wow,
can see. It says,
nice.
Todo lo que poder imaginar es real.
Yeah, exactly,
This
nice.
is my
Todo lo que puedes
mantra.
imaginar es
Whatever you
real.
imagine is real.
Yeah, I
So
love it. Yes, nice. So yeah, so let's imagine that the pandemic's over,
I
right? So
hope
we got you there. Yeah.
absolutely.
Hey, listen, thank you so much for your time. It's been a great experience to talk about your film. We're really happy to have you in our festival. You are a very talented filmmaker, no doubt about that. I want to be like you one day. Let's try, right?
Oh
Let's
my
try.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking forward to meet you in Spain. Okay, Rajni, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it, right?
Namaste.
Hasta luego. Adiós. Thank
Adiós,
you.
adiós. Muchas gracias.